This podcast is sponsored by FortuneFavours.ie. FortuneFavours.ie is a home workout equipment store and your one-stop shop for all home gym equipment. They are well known for their adjustable dumbbells, which combine 15 different weights in one dumbbell. They have both 24 kg and 40 kg adjustable dumbbells. Check the link in the bio of this episode for more information. So welcome back to the podcast. We can't see our faces here on YouTube, but it's a bit of a change, I suppose, from the usual standard we have here on YouTube. I'm joined here by the Saffron Voice lads, Ryan Devlin and Luke Kelly, to discuss the football this weekend in the Allianz Football League. It should be a very good weekend. We're moving into Matchday 4 now, breaking point for most teams, relegation and promotion coming into shape now, so should be a very interesting weekend. I suppose, first of all, lads, how are you both?
Yeah, we're doing all right up here, so we are. Matthew, thanks for asking.
Yeah.
How are yourself?
Grand. I suppose it's great that you're okay, and I suppose the weather last week was wicked, all right. So I was actually up in Derry on Sunday, and even the gust of wind there that day was absolutely unbelievable. And in Munster probably was worse over the weekend, I was hearing, but in Ulster was pretty bad too.
Yeah, well, I was actually at the hunting game on Saturday, and to be fair, the weather wasn't actually too bad. Yes, there was a bit of a slight breeze, but I wouldn't say it was gale force winds as such. But then Sunday just got worse and worse as the day went on, and I do feel sorry for the counties that did miss out on action this week on the weekend twice there.
Yeah, definitely. I suppose we'll get cracking into the games this weekend. We'll start off with the first Division 1 game of the weekend. It's Donegal against Tyrone. The game is live on RT2 on Saturday night at 7:30. Both sides have 3 points out of possible 6 in their first 3 games. How do you see this one going?
I think we were saying our own podcast, Matthew. I think a lot of it will come down to whether Michael Murphy's available this week or not. I think Donegal are definitely a different team when they don't have him compared to when they do have him. And I think the Tyrone boys are back from suspension this weekend, so I think that'll make a big difference. Tyrone still look rusty in my opinion, but and if they have them 4 boys back, McGeary, Hampsey, Peter Hart, yeah, and Ron McNamee, I think they will have enough to beat Donegal. I don't think it'll be a classic. I think it could be a pulling and a hauling session up there in Ballybuffet, but yeah, I think Tyrone might have enough to beat them.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with you there. I'd probably go with Tyrone win by 3 points. And I suppose with these two sides, Donegal don't necessarily try to win the league. Tyrone probably don't either. They try to win All Ireland's, exemplified by last year after getting a 6-goal hammering by Kerry. I suppose for both of these sides, it's about survival. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would say so. I think Tyrone, from a Tyrone perspective, I think they'd be happy enough to stay in Division 1, and also Donegal as well. You're sitting looking at the likes of Kildare and Dublin, who are in 0 points at the minute. Well, Kildare have 1 point. Certainly, they're 1 win ahead of these games as such. So yeah, survival in Division 1 would be a good season for Donegal and Tyrone, and then obviously can build on that further into the Ulster Championship and whatnot, and what have you. So
yeah, absolutely. Both these sides would definitely want to survive in Division 1, and they're going right way about it. And I suppose with Donegal, you mentioned Michael Murphy's going to be missing for this game. We think he was missing for last week against Kerry as well. Does Donegal really depend on Murphy to be there, or do you think players like Michael Langan, Jamie Brennan potentially, or some other players of the team could step up and replace Murphy as being one of the main players in that team?
No, I think they definitely do rely on Murphy, Matthew. There's nobody else in that squad. Yes, there are a lot of good footballers, but he is their spiritual leader. And even whenever they did play Kerry last week, they're almost sort of looking round for him, but he wasn't there, and it looked like they didn't even want to be in Kerry last week. So yeah, like we even seen last year in Ulster Championship. Remember when he got sent off? Donegal were actually winning at that time, and then he got sent off, and then they just basically fell to pieces. Like, so yeah, he will be a massive miss, and I don't know how they're going to replace him, like, because he's 32 now, so he's not getting any younger.
Yeah, it's going to be the big question for Donegal will replace him or not, and it probably would be important for them to replace him sooner rather than later to try and win an All Ireland. I suppose moving on to the next game, and this is a huge interest to the public, really. It's Kildare against Dublin in St. Conduit's Park. It's a sold-out crowd. This promises to be an absolute belter of a game. It's live on TG Car on Sunday. So people who didn't get tickets for that game, thank God it's on TV for you. And about Dublin, is it crisis mode after losing 3 games in a row so far?
I mean, I suppose it's early days yet, but three losses on the bounce, considering 2 home games as well. You'd be sort of thinking maybe it is crisis mode for Dublin at the minute. And certainly, it's no gimme going away to Newbridge against Kildare either. So it could be looking down the barrel of 4 defeats from 4. Like, is it crisis or not? I would say maybe not. I think Dublin will be obviously looking for bigger things ahead in the Leinster Championship and whatnot. And obviously, this is a transition period for Dublin, I think, especially with a lot of boys leaving the panel as such. And it was funny because I was listening to Kieran Whelan on this Allianz League Sunday on Sunday night, and he was saying that a lot of, was it Kieran Whelan or Pat Spillane was saying, I can't remember, I just remember a lot of Dublin problems are coming from the kickouts. Obviously, we've been used to seeing Stephen Kluxman around for so many years, and then Evan Comfort steps into the panel, and suddenly all the spotlights on him, whenever it should be maybe based around the whole panel as such. Obviously, Kieran Kilkenny's still there, and he's probably one of the main threats going forward. And so, Brian Fenton's still there in midfield as well. So you're obviously missing a lot of big players for Dublin as well. So I do think it's more or less transition rather than crisis, maybe.
Yeah, I suppose that is a fair argument. And even I was arguing on the GA Fan TV podcast that Dublin were actually playing the 3 best teams in the division in Armagh, Mayo and Kerry, and they're just a bit ahead of Dublin at the moment. Would you agree with that statement there, that once they play Kildare on Sunday, the problems will be rectified in a way?
I think you're absolutely bang on there, Matthew. I think they probably have maybe played three of the best teams. I know Armagh would be big into their fitness, and they probably did put in, probably targeting that Dublin game for a long time, and then Kerry, for me, are probably the best side in there, and then Mayo as well. Mayo were just looking to put the foot in the throat last week with Dublin, so I think this game on Sunday is massive for Dublin, because I think if they do get beaten Sunday, I think this could be crisis mode for them, to be honest.
Not only is it a big game for Dublin as well, it's a big game for Leinster football as a whole as well. We heard Colin O'Rourke saying that Leinster football is in turmoil at the minute. With Kildare and Dublin both the bottom half of Division 1, they could be maybe facing relegation Division 2. Not Leinster side in Division 1. Then if that's the case, then maybe it's sort of bad days ahead for Leinster football. Would you agree, Matthew?
Yeah, in a way, definitely, because Meath or another team, they'll probably be third, and they're absolutely struggling in Division 2. Same for Offaly, who are considered as 4th. Westmeath, who are Division 3, are considered 5th. So, yeah, it is a huge game. It's a huge chance for the 2 of these sides to put up a spectacle in a way. And another question just about Kildare, really. Considering Dublin are in a so-called, in quotation marks, crisis mode, is this an opportunity for Kildare to possibly win their first Leinster title since 2000? I know Dublin have dominated Leinster over the last few years, but there's cracks evidently appearing in the Dublin team. Is it a huge chance for Kildare to capitalise on that?
I think so. I actually said in our podcast about a month ago, I was going to make a big call and say Dublin aren't going to win Leinster this year, and there was a few sniggers from beside me, but Yeah, I honestly believe that it is time for someone to step up and take this Leinster title off Dublin this year. But saying it and doing it's two different things. Like, but I think Kildare definitely have the capabilities. Like, Glenn Ryan's a very good coach, as you know, and they definitely have the forwards now: Ben McCormick, Jimmy Hill,
Daniel Flynn,
Paddy Woodgate. Like, so they definitely have all the tools there. Kevin Feely at midfield. So, yeah, I think they could do it, but I don't know. I don't really know what way the Leinster draw is this year, but I would like to see them do it, Kildare. But yeah.
Yeah, I'd absolutely love Kildare to win the Leinster title. Maybe a bit of something different, I suppose, because the last team other than Dublin to win the Leinster obviously was Meath in 2010. Even before that, 2004, Westmeath. So Dublin have really dominated the Leinster Championship since about 2005, and it'll probably be refreshing if a side other than them to win it. But for this particular game of the league, would you be backing Dublin to rectify those wrongs for the first three games, or do you think Kildare can beat Dublin their first in the first meeting between the sides in Newbridge since 1995?
I think Kildare will win by at least a couple of points in this game. Certainly, they looked very, very good against Tyrone there Sunday past, and as Ryan says, they do have good forwards now. Daniel Flynn being one of the main focal points now in Kildare. Certainly, they played very well against Kerry in Newbridge as well. They drew with Kerry, one of the best teams in Ireland. If the Kildare crowd get behind Kildare, then that could be a massive factor too. You mentioned there it's a sellout crowd for Sunday, and that could really take a toll on Dublin. It's probably like a championship match rather than a league match. Something they mightn't be used to maybe. So I think Kildare will really be up for this match, and Glenn Ryan will have the boys really fired up for this match and want to put Dublin into relegation mode maybe.
Jeez, wouldn't that be something if Dublin played games in Croke Park in Division 2? Imagine like Limerick going to Croke Park. That'd be some spectacle. But I suppose it's a bit premature. But if they lose on Sunday now, that's becoming a serious reality. For me personally, I think it'll be a draw. I think, yes, the atmosphere will be there for Kildare, but I expect a bounce from Dublin, surely to God. If they don't bounce in this game, then there is surely a crisis mode, in my opinion. But should be a very good game live at TG Car on Sunday. The next game, Mayo Armagh. This is an interesting game. Both sides have 5 points out of a possible 6 so far. 2 wins and a draw between the two sides. This game looks to be it's going to be a very exciting game considering that the two sides aren't in relegation dogfight and the pressure's off.
Yeah, but what I was saying on Monday night is I don't think Armagh are maybe as good as what people are making out. Matthew, I think anybody would have beat Dublin in that first game. They beat a rusty Tyrone, and I think Monaghan sort of put them a wee bit in their box on last weekend there. I think they definitely targeted Blaine Hughes' kickouts on Saturday night, and I think Mayo will do the exact same this weekend. And yeah, I think maybe Armagh players. I was watching the Sideline Eye podcast, and they were saying maybe that the players were maybe believing the hype, but I think this is a big year for Armagh, especially for Kieran McGeeney as well, because I'm looking at this Donegal match in the first round, and if they don't get through this, they haven't gotten an Ulster final since 2008, the last Ulster team to do it, but Antrim got an Ulster final in 2009, so I think this will be a true big test to see where Armagh are at. I know it's not in Castlebar, and yeah, I think Mayo are probably the second best team in Ireland at the moment, and if they can go down here to Markovich Park and beat Mayo, I think I'll send out a big statement.
I think it's Dr. Hyde Park they're playing. I could be wrong now, but if it's in Dr. Hyde Park, it'll definitely suit Mayo because they played there before. And you talk about Mayo being the second best team in Ireland. Indeed, that's probably a fair assumption there. do you think realistically that Mayo could win the All Ireland? I know Kerry are there, Tyrone will improve as the year goes on, but is this the year that finally the things start to click for Mayo?
I'm not a Mayo fan myself, but they must be sick to the back teeth of hearing that. Like, I do expect them to be thereabouts, but as they say, like, that final step's always the toughest step. And I would say if you took Kerry out of the equation, I think Mayo would probably be favourites for the All Ireland this year. I think them two sides will meet in a semi-final or a final, but I don't know. The longer this goes on, the tougher it is for their supporters, I think, Matthew. And I don't know. I can't see it happening this year again, unfortunately, for their fans. Like,
I suppose there's a realistic objective really for Mayo to maybe win the league, like for the second time. I think a few years, like they won it in 2019 against Kerry, coincidentally as well. Is that a realistic objective really to win the league? Because it seems like only themselves and Kerry look genuine candidates for this Allianz League title.
Yeah, that would be a goal of Mayo's for every year, I suppose, win the league, and then that gives them a good platform for the Connacht Championship and All Ireland series as well, I suppose. You mentioned about the play Kerry, they actually beat Kerry in that 19th finals, actually at that game. But yeah, this probably would be a realistic goal for Mayo to win the league and to even push on, as I said.
unearth gems as well.
Yeah, unearth gems as well. You know,
Ian Norman.
they have they've got the boost now with Oshie Mullen, who's best defender in Ireland, probably one of, if not one of the best. So they do have quality players in Mayo, and you mentioned if Mayo could win the All Ireland, Matthew, it'd be very interesting to see, because last year the last member of the 51 squad actually passed away. So could the curse be lifted, Matthew? It'd be very straight. It'd be very, very weird if they did win it, and then people will be saying, Jesus, maybe curses do exist.
You know what I'm thinking of now? It's in the news recently, though, that the Russia and Ukraine thing. I would just wonder if Mayo get close to the All Ireland, get closer and closer, people think it's their year, and then World War III erupts. I just think, it's like it's that kind of a feeling with Mayo at the moment, and I hope it doesn't happen though, because them fans deserve an All Ireland. But you feel when is this All Ireland going to come? They do have the young players coming through, so it has to be coming soon, surely. Like after 2 final losses. So
yeah, I actually think they've lost 8 All Ireland finals since 2004. You can correct me there if I'm wrong, but Jesus, like that is, you talking about going to the well, like must be completely dry now. Their fans must be sick to the back teeth of losing All Ireland finals.
Yeah, it's it has to come to an end at some point, but the question is when. Like that's the toughest question for Mayo fans. You'd be backing a Mayo win, obviously, as you said before. I'd say a Mayo win as well, maybe 2 or 3 points. I don't think it'll be as much of a hammering as people think. I think Armagh will actually put up a fight, but we'll have to see on Sunday. The final game, in fact, in Division 1 is between Monaghan and Kerry in the Skeen. This is an interesting game, because yes, Kerry are performing excellent in the league so far, but in the Skeen looks like a tough place to go for Kerry.
Yeah, definitely. And it's not like your normal Clonus or what have you. And it's probably like a very small parish in Monaghan, so it will be intimidating to go to. But I do see Kerry just brushing them off again as business resumed for Kerry as such. And Kerry have just been phenomenal throughout the league. The likes of David Clifford and Paddy Clifford and Sean O'Shea, they have the forwards to absolutely to destroy teams as such. And I've been very impressed with Kerry over the league campaign, and
we haven't even seen Stefano Cumber yet.
Exactly. So there's still plenty of stuff to come from Kerry as well. And I do see him in the hunt for an All Ireland title this year. I probably do think they will win the All Ireland this year. They've just been so good, and Jack O'Connor's just getting this side ticking. So I would expect Kerry to wipe the floor with Monaghan. I know Monaghan would probably put up a good fight, yes, but I do think the Kerry forwards will have too much to say for Monaghan, I think.
Let me just butt in there. No one is waiting on the floor with anybody in Division 1. Sorry to tell you. Look, it'll be wet. It'll be a tight club pitch, and Monaghan are the Clare of Division 1. I wouldn't rule out maybe a draw in this match. Go on ahead there, Matthew. I had to butt in there after he said they'd wipe the floor with them.
Jeez, it doesn't seem that way in Division 1 this year. No one's wiping the floor with anyone, despite Dublin performing poorly. Like, they're still losing less than 10 points. So still the games are competitive as ever. And I suppose there is the argument as well. Kerry obviously will be going to the game as favourites, but historically they've struggled against other sides, especially the league. Like, I remember them going up to Tyrone one year, David Clifford getting sent off, and they lost the heads a small bit. Could that be the same this Sunday potentially?
Well, I suppose it could be. I know Monaghan are a very physical team with the Hugheses and that, and they'll be playing the tight pitch. But I think Kerry have to start showing a bit more maturity towards that. Like, I don't think David Clifford should have been sent off that day. If I can recall, I think Tyrone tried to get him sent off. So, yeah, I do think Kerry will win this match. I think they're too much quality, but Monaghan do have plenty of dog in them. I don't think they'll be white the floor, as Luke said.
I suppose an argument about Kerry that I came across when chatting to someone earlier on today was that, yes, Kerry look very good at the moment. They look like a house on fire. They're playing their starting 15, their usual starting 15 in every game. But there's the argument also, what if one of them players gets injured or overtired in the months to come, and then when it reaches quarterfinals and semi-finals, they'll be burnt out and eventually they'll lose their All-Irelands? Would there be a bit of regret there?
Well, I suppose this is it, Matthew. They lost David Clifford in the semi-final against Tyrone. I just knew that Tyrone were going to beat them in extra time, and I suppose that is probably the one player they can't lose. I know they rested him last week because he was playing the Sigerson Cup final for UL, but I think Kerry have they just have everything. I think they are starting to get that leaky defence. They're starting to get it unleaked, as they say, and yeah, I think they are the full package now. So I know you're trying to convince yourself that they're not the full package being from Cork, but I think it could be a long winter in Cork this year.
Oh, lads, for flip's sake, Jesus! It probably will be a long winter, but I honestly think Kerry will win the All Ireland definitely. But there's another question actually that's popped up in a few of my discussions in the past week or so. They aren't getting tested as they would have liked in the league either, considering the teams like Dublin and Armagh, Mayo, etc. are rotating their teams quite a bit. Kerry are playing like they're starting 15 nearly every week, their best 15. And then going into the Munster Championship, let's be honest, they're not going to get a test there either. So will they go into the All-Ireland quarterfinals or semi-finals in Croke Park a bit undercooked?
Well, I suppose you could say the other way around. You could say that the like of Tyrone, Armagh, even Mayo, they've got in the first round. So they're going to be coming in maybe like not even battle hardened. They could come in with injuries and fatigue, and like you just take a look at Tyrone's run just to the Ulster final. Like, I think Kerry will be well wrapped in cotton wool come the All-Ireland semi-final. So yeah, I think no matter what question you're just going to fire at me, I think they're going to win All-Ireland.
Yeah, you're probably right. They'll probably win the All-Ireland. They'll win this game, in my opinion. I think they'll win by 1 or 2 points. Like you said, it won't be a pace or anything.
I don't think it'll be a classic either, Matthew.
Yeah.
I think it'll be wet, like a club pitch.
Looks to be bad weather again this weekend, so it could be even cancelled. We'll have to wait and see. Would that be a bit of a dose if it got cancelled? But anyway, we're moving on to Division 2, and we're starting off with a relegation 4-pointer, as you would describe it in the Allianz leagues. Offaly against Meath in O'Connor Park in Tullamore. Like, this is a huge fight for survival here. Offaly have lost their opening 2 games. Obviously, their game last week against Galway was postponed. Meath lost their opening 2 games against Roscommon and Galway, and they drew last week quite disappointingly to Down at home as well. So a win for either team would be crucial in surviving.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually believe that Offaly could win this game. You could probably throw the argument there that Meath probably played maybe 2 of the best 3 teams in Division 2 already, in Galway and Roscommon, but that was a disappointing loss or draw, to Down. They probably would have felt they could have won that game, but Down showed a better guile and sort of clawed it back or whatever. But this match is in Tullamore, I think. So yeah, it could be a real test for Meath and for both teams actually, I suppose. And I've actually got Meath down to get relegated this year, but after 3 performances, but it will be a big test, I suppose, for both teams. But I do think Offaly will beat Meath. I don't think the boys from Meath are playing for Andy McAtee at the minute. And, it's just a case of what's to come for Meath, I think.
It's interesting because I actually mentioned on your podcast before the league even began, one game even began, that Andy McAtee has kind of lost the confidence with the players. It's definitely shown on the field this season so far.
Yeah, 100%. I know it was only 3-0 against Down, and we've seen Down aren't world beaters and I was actually predicting Down to beat me. I think Meath are in a really bad place. I remember I seen their first game against Galway. What was it, 45 minutes without a score? Holy Christ. And then just the facial expression of them at the end of I suppose the only thing now is, do you keep them in now or do you replace them? Because I think if they keep them in to the end of the league, I think they will go down. So what's your opinion on Meath, Matthew?
I think their opponents actually Offaly are, way off the pace in Division 2. So they're a certainty, in my opinion. The other one is actually, I think it's going to be between Meath and Cork, because I think Down are actually better than people think. So I'd probably go Cork at the moment. Cork are playing worse football than Meath at this particular moment in time. You think Meath will go down ahead of Cork?
No, I predicted Cork as well. I don't know. I think Keith Rick and I thought it was a good appointment, but maybe he's just not getting through the seniors the same way you can get through the younger fellows. But I wasn't very impressed with him against Derry now. So I don't know. I think Cork and Meath, I think my eyes will definitely be on that game.
I think Cork and Meath are definitely in a relegation battle, but I think one of the two, you tip Offaly to stay up in this division despite losing the first 2 games quite comprehensively so far.
No, I think Offaly are definitely searched to go down. I think Luke thinks that as well.
So we do think Offaly will go down. It's just the case between either Meath or Cork and eyes.
Yeah. Interesting. I actually thought you meant that Meath and Cork would go down and Offaly would stay up there, but
no. I don't think Down are out of the woods yet, but as well, I think they have a game. I think they can win at the weekend, but we'll go on to that in a minute.
And just a word on Offaly before we get further on down the discussion Division 2. We mentioned Offaly are dead sorts to go down. Do you think their players are kind of undercooked going into Division 2? Are they promoted to Division 2 a bit too early?
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. I think, with the likes of these young fellas under 20s coming through, they are a bit undercooked, and it's a lot different. It's a big step up as such. Coming from that level up to senior level when you're getting more double marked by Christy McKaig and stuff like that there. So, it's a big step up for Offaly and these young fellas. So it would be a wee bit too early and stuff like that. So
there was a lot of hype about Offaly.
There was, yeah.
But we seen in the Division 3 final last year, they got an awful pasting by Derry and Croke Park, and I think they probably, I think if they do go down, which they will, I can't see them coming back up again next year. So
I don't know though. I just think their players will improve as years go by. Tomas O'Shea's there now. I don't know if Offaly go down this year or don't perform well in the Leinster Championship. What would that mean for John Mahon? Because he's been there for...
I don't know. I suppose he has some credit in the bank with getting promoted, but like you said there, Matthew, about younger players coming through. Sure, we've seen that with Cavan there in Division 4 now, and Cork. You said they're going to go down, so you can't really read too much into minors and under 21s, like. But yeah, I think John Mahon definitely has too much credit in the bank. I think he'd be, and then if they can win a match in Leinster, I think he is a good coach, and I know he's Tomas O'Shea in there helping him this year.
Be interesting to see how that develops, and definitely should be an intriguing battle. Whoever loses that game could be even dead sorts to go down. It's that crucial.
100%.
Yeah.
The next game is between my own county. Regret to say it, we're the relegation dogfight at the moment in Division 2. It's Cork against Galway. Contrasting form between the two sides. Cork have drawn one game against Clare and lost the other two quite comprehensively against Roscommon and Derry. Galway have won their opening two games so far with flying colours against Meath, and I think the other one was against Downshire, and their third game was actually postponed last week against Offaly, so they'll be refreshed going into this game. Like, you can't really see anything else other than the Galway hammering here, could you?
I don't know about hammering, Matthew, but I definitely do think this is the worst time to play in Galway if you're Cork. You know, it's, as I said on our own podcast on Monday, that this is the worst time to play in Galway whenever you're in such a downward spiral as such. You know, the Cork would probably want to be getting back up on the horse, as they would say, you know, after that defeat to Derry, like, you know. But again, Cork will still have to play Offaly, and they still have to play these Meath, and you know, so I do and down as well. So obviously, if you get past this Galway match, then obviously there's light at the end of the tunnel as such, you know, when you're playing these next to these teams as such. So a very bad time to play Galway, yes. You know, you could be facing 1 point from 8, like, so it's not looking very promising. So it is, but it's in Páirc Uí Chaoimh, Matthew, isn't it?
It is, but the thing is, Páirc Uí Chaoimh is a pitch like Croke Park, and I feel it'll suit Galway more, because Galway are like a Division 1 standard team aiming for All-Ireland titles, and it will just allow players like Shane Walsh, Damien Comer to just roam around the field, really, and it could be a hammering for that reason.
Yeah, I think I know this is really negative, but you have to almost treat this game as like a free hit, and if Galway do win it, I wouldn't be too down, Matthew, because you are left with 3 matches. I think Cork definitely could get maybe
4 points.
4 points. Would 5 points be enough?
Maybe, yeah.
Would it be enough? I don't know. I think it'll go to the wire, but yeah, I think like you said, this could be maybe 10-point win for Galway, but yeah, I wouldn't be too down. Like, you've 3 winnable games after, like, so it's just a pity that it's Derry and then it's Galway straight after. Like, if you had Offaly and Páirc Uí Chaoimh or something this week, you could bounce straight back.
Yep.
But, you know.
Yeah, I suppose that's the thing. Like, the worst possible opponents to get in Páirc Uí Chaoimh after such a big hammering last week against Derry, and the performance wasn't great either. I suppose on Galway, because we've talked enough about Cork's relegation troubles, do you realistically see Galway as All-Ireland contenders? A lot of people are saying they're strolling through this division with ease. They have the talent. We talk about young talent. Galway are seeming to use it brilliantly, really, and Keith O'Neill coming into the backroom team. Porrick Joy seems to get the right balance as well so far. Do you think Galway are genuine All-Ireland contenders?
I think the match against Mayo in the first match of Connacht is going to be massive. Like, I think if they lose that and they have to come through the qualifiers, I think no. But if they can get through Mayo, I think they play Sligo next, and then I would expect them to win Connacht, and then that would be them in an All-Ireland quarter-final, and then all bets are off. But you know who really impressed me in the Sigerson Cup campaign? Matthew the Kellys, you know, at the NUIG, that team, Matthew Kelly and Sean Kelly and boys like that. But yeah, I think they're dead search for promotion along with Derry now, because Roscommon dropped the point there at the weekend. So I think it is all about trying to win Connacht first, promotion, then Connacht, and then see where they're at. But I think there's a bit of pressure on Patrick Joyce.
Yeah, that's a fair enough assumption, I suppose. They do have some very good players coming through. You mentioned the Kelly brothers, Matthew Tierney, Tom O'Colhan, even some players from the NUI Galway team who could easily come into this team. Neil Mulcahy, who marked David Clifford out of the game in that final, of course. Gavin Burke, who scored 2 points from playing that game. So there are some real positives in Galway, and they should get a comfortable win this weekend. I suppose another game in Division 2, Down against Roscommon, Down in a bit of a relegation dogfight. Roscommon at the other end of the table, obviously fighting for promotion. But I actually said this on the Play on GA podcast that I actually fancy Down to win this game. It's at home. And Down have some very good players, underlooked in my opinion. They have some very good players from Sigerson Cup. Andrew Gilmore, Finn McElroy are definitely two. I don't know, will the Kilcoo lads come back into the team? If they do this weekend, then this could be a real tough game for Roscommon.
Yeah, this could be a scalp, Matthew. Obviously, as you mentioned, them boys coming back from the Sigerson Cup, and we actually don't know if the Kilcoo boys will commit to the county this year. This is what I was saying. This is why I was saying to Ryan in the podcast on Monday there that maybe the Johnsons might commit. I don't think the Brownians might. I don't think the Brownians will commit. But it would be interesting to see, though. Maybe I could be totally wrong, and the Brownians could show up in the panel and just wipe the floor. Not wipe the floor, but they could beat Roscommon. But yes, it's a home like, and I do think that this could be a winnable game for Down. This is a chance for them to bounce back as well. After being such poor form as such in Division 2, and it is a chance for them now to bounce back. And send out a statement as well. Beating Roscommon, who are in top 3, I think, in Division 2.
And I think if Down did beat Roscommon, I think your Corks, your Mays, and your Offaly's would sort of look at that result and go, "Oh, Jesus Christ!"
Yeah, definitely. I suppose, is there an argument actually that Down are underlooked? Because a lot of people would have tipped automatically Down and Offaly to get relegated at the start of the season. But when you look at Down's performances, they aren't necessarily getting battered or anything. There's actually a bit of positivity after what seemed like a turbulent winter.
I think it's because, Matthew, there was no expectation. I think they didn't really want James McCartan, and then I think a lot of people had them as 8th, actually. And I suppose when you have no expectation, the only way is up. And they haven't took no battering to Galway or Derry. So I think, and then going away to Meath, and getting a point in Navan, it's not a bad result for them. So
yeah,
and I think they will keep adding players to their squad if these Kilcoo boys can commit. So yeah, I want to see a strong Down team, because the more stronger teams in Ulster, the better. It's better for the Ulster Championship. So yeah, I'd like to see Down stay up as well.
Geez, the Ulster Championship looks a very competitive championship, more than ever now this year, I think.
I need to pull you up about something. I was watching you and Arn the other day, and you said if Armagh beat Donegal, they'll have Cavan in the semi-final.
I knew you'd mention that now in this podcast. I knew you'd mention that. We'll get on to Antrim in a bit there, but a word on Roscommon, because they actually have good young players coming through. This might be a bit of a banana skin for them at the weekend against Down, but they have Cathal Heenan, who scored 3 points from play against NUI Galway, Connor Cox, Enda Smith, Donny Smith. There's still some very good players in that Roscommon team, and they seem to be playing with more of an attacking edge this season now that Stephen Poacher's gone.
Yeah, well, I think when you take Poacher away from any setup, the only way is attacking from there. But like you said, yeah, they do have the Daly's back now and Alton Harney around the middle of the field. I think if Roscommon had a beat Clare, I think a lot more people would have been thinking, yeah, I think Roscommon will beat Down, but I think that's sort of almost stalled Roscommon, because that's put them a point behind Derry and Galway now, and we know that you can't fall behind these two sides and if you're looking for promotion. But I think Roscommon had a high expectation and Down and low, but they're sort of meeting now, aren't they? They're evening out.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's why a lot of people are predicting Down to win this much.
Yeah, I suppose a lot of people are predicting a banana skin indeed. Like I thought it'd be out of the blue pick in a way. When I was on a podcast previously that I said Down would beat Roscommon. But are you predicting a Down win in this game, or do you think Roscommon could come back from that draw against Clare to win this game and come back into the promotion charge?
I would tip Down for a 1 or 2 point victory. Purely because Down are going up and maybe Roscommon are coming down from that draw to Clare as such. So I would say Down by 1 or 2 points, purely because it's at home as well, and they have all these players coming back. Whether or not these Kilcoo men come back or not, it's another thing. So yeah, I would go for a Down win in my eyes.
Yeah, I'd probably go for Dublin as well. I'd probably go maybe 1 or 2 point victory. It'll be tight all the way. And by the way, that game is also live on TV. It's live on GA Go and BBC in Ireland. So it should be a very interesting game, that. And the last game of the weekend for Division 2 point of view is Clare against Derry. Now, this game is huge for both sides for a promotion charge. And just on Derry a small bit, I know they perform well against the likes of Cork, and they perform well for years now under Rory Gallagher. They are improving. But is there an argument that they haven't really got tested yet?
I don't think so. Derry are far superior. They are. There's a lot of hype around Derry as such, and I'm certainly on the Derry bandwagon now as well. They have sensational players. They are playing very good football, and the Slaughtneil lads are back in the fray as well. Shane McGuigan, who was unbelievable against Cork, Chrissy McCaig, just smart Brian Hurley at the game as such. And, they do have. Kieran McFall wasn't even on the pitch either. Oisin McWilliams started ahead of him, and if Kieran McFall was playing, then it could have been a hell of a lot worse for Cork. So I don't think it's maybe overhyped for there. I think there's a lot of maybe, don't know maybe what the word is, but
expectation.
Yeah, but
I think they'll be there now in the top table for the next 5 to 10 years, especially with young fellas like Lachlan Murray and Conor McCluskey and Oran Lynch. It is a very young Derry side as well.
Yep.
So I can't wait to see. I hope Tyrone come through from Anna, and then we'll maybe take a wee trip up the Celtic part to which Derry and Tyrone lost their championship on a warm summer's day.
Unreal.
Summer days are back, boys. I suppose yeah, there is an argument Derry haven't got tested yet, but this test going to Cusack Park against a Clare team that are consistently in Division 2, consistently fighting for promotion. Like, this is the third year in a row that Cullen Collins side are in a genuine promotion charge as well. So this will be a big test for Derry to show exactly where they are at.
Yeah, I think Sean Dyche, Colin Collins will have them well up for this match, and I don't think it'll be a great match, but I think if it was in Celtic Park, I think that Derry would maybe win comfortably. But I think, like you said, I've seen the way Clare do perform in Cusack Park. Remember, they played Mayo in the promotion playoff, and they were very unlucky to lose that match, and I think Clare will be eyeing up a scalp here on Sunday.
Aye, but this is another way for Derry to announce their dominance as such in Division 2 as well. Going down to Cusack Park and Ennis and coming away with maybe a 10-12 point victory, that would really send out a statement to all of maybe Ulster as such as well. So it would send shockwaves around the country if Derry go down to Cusack Park and obviously hammer the life out of Clare. So that's what I believe, and I believe that Derry will win comfortably in this match. I think, yeah.
You think Colin Collins will get whipped?
Yep.
Jeez, that's a bold call. I don't think Clare fans will like that one bit. The next question I was going to ask actually was about Clare, because they don't seem to play well in like Munster Championships in minor and under 20. It seems to be always Cork, Kerry, maybe the odd appearance from Tipperary up at the top table. But Clare seem to find these players like Daniel Walsh, Emma McMahon, Brian McNamara is another good young player coming through. I think Joe McGann might be available this weekend as well. Like,
I think a lot of that's to do with Colin Collins, but he is a very, very good coach, and he is very, very good at finding these gems in the club championship, if we can get my words out. But yeah, I think he is a really underrated coach. Like, keep Clare in Division 2 for, what is it, 6 years now? So like, I don't think he does get the credit he deserves, and to find these gems as well.
Yeah, I was actually looking at the UL team, for example, and the whole half forward line actually came from Clare. I think it was Oisin Looney, Kieran Downs, and Emmett McMahon. They're all Clare players, and Emmett McMahon himself scored 10 points for playing the Sigerton Cup through the whole competition. So he's a very good player, very good find. Daniel Walsh there, Darren O'Neill, Joe McGann could play this weekend. Obviously, Keelan Sexton's another good player, and David Tuberty, obviously ageless in that team, unbelievable player. So would you back Derry to win this game, or do you think Clare could pull off one of the shocks of the Division 2 campaign so far?
I think Luke's predicting a bit of a hammering here in Cusack Park, but I think it'll be closer. Like, I think Clare have that maturity now not to get hammered unless they are playing the Munster Championship against Kerry. Like, but yeah, I think games like this now, they used to be banana skins for Derry, but I think these are sort of run-of-the-mill games now for Derry. And if Derry are to be taken seriously, like, I do think they have to go down to Cusack Park now and win these sort of games. What about yourself, Matthew?
Will I go for the other surprise results, I wonder? No, I won't. I'd say Derry will win this game, not because Clare are a bad side or anything. It's just Derry look good so far. But I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Clare pull off a surprise here in Cusack Park. It tends to be a tough place to go. Colin Collins is a good coach. It should be a very good game. It should be a game really shown on the likes of GA Go, but obviously it's not for some reason anyway. But that's a discussion for another day. I suppose we'll get on to Division 3, a particular interest to you. I'll actually start off with a game that's a particular interest to you, lads, here. Laois against Antrim in O'Moore Park in Port Laois. Like, Antrim have started off quite well. I know you lost to Limerick, but have won the other 2 games, and you're in a genuine promotion charge under Enda McGinley.
Yeah, we were saying this on our podcast on Monday that 4 points from 6 is definitely promotion form as such. And it was quite a blip, maybe losing that much to Limerick. That's what I believe. Anyway, it was just a genuine blip. Limerick just looked so good on the day, and them goals sort of killed us in the start of the game. And if them goals were nullified, then we probably would have won that game. So, and then we played Wicklow there on Sunday, and it was a better performance. But then again, the goals, we were 4 points up in that match, and then Wicklow got their goal, and then all that hard work was done by then. And then it's just to try and build again. But the second half was much better. Ricky Johnson was unbelievable and fullback, and he's done a good job in Kevin Quinn, who's probably one of the Wicklow's best forwards at the minute. Kevin Quinn obviously got that goal against us, and Ricky Johnson just marked him after that goal, and he just kept him quiet since. But yeah, this game against Laois is going to be a massive test for Antrim. Definitely down in Port Laois as well. It will be a test. We went down with Laois recently in history as well, and we went down, we beat them in the qualifiers as well.
Whenever half the team wore a different shirt.
Well, that's a different story. So, no, this is a massive test for Antrim. Yes, away to Port Laois, it's definitely not easy. Like, so,
whenever you have the likes of Gary Walsh and Evan O'Carroll, and you said that Ricky's now injured now, so I think our defence is going to have a lot to deal with on Saturday. So yeah, it's going to be a tough test for us, Matthew, on Saturday.
Definitely.
It should be a very good tough test indeed. Laois seem to be in a bit of good fettle at the moment as well. So I suppose with Antrim, like, are you surprised at the impact that Enda McGinley's made in your team in a way?
Not really. Well, maybe at the start, yes. Certainly he came in and we didn't really know what to expect, because obviously he hasn't really much of his managerial CV there.
Apart from
Swatner. And I think he took Tyrone Miners or something in the backroom team anyway. But Yeah, he came in and we didn't really know what to expect. Obviously we knew he's related to the McCann brothers, so maybe that's maybe how he got the job, but we don't know. So, but no, he came in and we got promoted from Division 4, which probably was his first game.
Yeah.
His first goal was to get out of Division 4 and then just push on from there. He gave Armagh a good test in the Ulster Championship last year, and now we're in promotion form in Division 3. And a lot of players in Nottingham were wanting to get up to promoted to Division 2.
They don't want to be playing the Tilton Cup.
They don't want to play Tilton Cup. They want to challenge themselves, and no better way for them to test themselves against Laois. So, but in the beginning, his impact has certainly sent shockwaves around the county, and it has took us by surprise, yes, but it's come as a very nice surprise.
Yeah, it's Antrim are in very good form at the moment. 4 points from 6 games, ever 6 points rather. Like, you couldn't have asked for more of a better start. Really, really good start. You'd be predicting an Antrim win, I suppose, being Antrim men yourselves.
Yeah, well, we can't buy against the boys, but it's definitely going to be a tough test. Definitely, Reggie Johnson's injured now. So just going to be it's just interesting to see how long that injury is going to last for. We don't know. Ricky's not a man to go down easily, so it will be interesting to see. But we can't buy against the boys, obviously. So in the form we're in as well, stuff like that, Laois will be coming into this game, maybe underestimate Antrim as such. So Antrim win for us.
Yeah, I'd probably predict an Antrim win that game as well. I don't know our Laois as good as people think they are. But it should be a very good game indeed. And looking forward into Division 2, do you think Antrim, or even looking forward to the Ulster Championship even, do you think you'd even put up a good fight? Because you kind of picked up on my prediction there that Cavan would beat you in the Ulster Championship, and you kind of took that personally. Do you think you can actually realistically beat Cavan in the Ulster Championship and maybe even an Ulster final?
Yeah, I think we can beat Cavan.
Maybe the Ulster final would be a stretch.
The Ulster final would be a stretch, with the likes of Armagh coming up now, Derry coming up now. These are very tough teams to beat now. Obviously, Tyrone's still there too, and Donegal will be there too, and obviously Monaghan as well. So, all these counties, they've absolutely have been dominating Ulster past recently. So, Ulster final might be a bit of a stretch, but it was interesting to see. I was reading up on Kevin Cassidy's article in the Gaelic Life, which is an Ulster Gaelic paper based up here in Ulster. So, he was saying that it's going to be the most competitive Ulster Championship ever. What do you think of that, Matthew?
It probably will, because from what I'm seeing anyway, the only team that's really, really underperforming in the league at the moment is Fermanagh. We'll get to Fermanagh later on, I suppose, in the roundup for Division 3. But I think I definitely agree with Kevin there. It's probably looking very competitive at the moment. And all them 8 sides, even down, they aren't whipping boys in Division 2 either. So this should be a very interesting Ulster Championship indeed. Just looking forward to the rest of the games in Division 3. Wicklow against Limerick is on Saturday. Longford against Fermanagh and Louth and Westmeath are both on Sunday. Any thoughts on them 3 remaining games?
I think the Louth Westmeath match is huge. I think if Louth can win that, I think they'll put themselves in the promotion picture. But if Westmeath win that, I think they're dead certs to go up. I think there's massive pressure under Kieran Donnelly's shoes here.
Mm-hmm.
They're way to a really sticky place in Pearse Park and Longford.
Yep.
I think this game's very, very hard to predict. I think whoever loses that game, I think they could be dead certs for relegation. And the last one was Wicklow and Limerick. That could be sticky for Limerick going down.
Yep, exactly. Limerick will probably want to bounce back. Obviously, after that defeat to Louth, so
and
UL as well. So they want to bounce back, but it's not an easy place to go to. Auckland. We've seen that.
A couple of years ago, we hammered out a side.
Yep, exactly. And Fermanagh went down there, and it wasn't easy for them either. They ended up getting a point out of that. So Auckland's not an easy place to go to. So if Limerick win, then I'd say you can really enter for promotion on probably Louth as well, because they'll be on 6. and then we don't know how Antrim would probably go against Lace. So I don't know. You were.
Oh, this man doesn't know.
Matthew, you were saying about it'd be interesting to see Dublin playing Division 2 football down in Gaelic grounds in Limerick. So I think you're looking for Limerick to get promoted this year, are you?
I don't know. It'd be interesting if Limerick got promoted, because I was hearing a rule from Pat Spillane the other night saying that the 6th place in Division 2 could get you in the Tailteann Cup as well, unless a side in Division 2 or Division 1 get to the provincial final. So my hope is Clare and Limerick reach the Munster semi-final, and then we could relax really as Cork fans. But I suppose that's a long way off. I'm obviously living in Limerick at the moment in UL, so I'd love to see them go up, to be honest. They look a very good side, and Billy Lee's doing a good job there. I suppose moving on to Division 4, and there's a few interesting games again this weekend. Tipperary will go with the first 2 games of the weekend. Tipperary against Sligo on Saturday night. It's actually double header with the hurling. The hurling's actually first at 5 against Dublin, and then they're playing Sligo at 7 o'clock. Should be a very interesting game considering how Sligo progressed. And another game, London against Wexford in Ruislip. London looking for their 4th win in a row. Any thoughts on them 2 games?
Well, I think it goes without saying that London is the fairy tale of the league so far. Everyone backed them not to win a match all year, and they've gone and shut us all up by winning 3 from 3. So, they haven't beat bad opposition either. They beat Leitrim last week. Leitrim obviously with Andy Moore this year. We're looking to get promoted this year, and they're definitely not the whipping boys Division 4 now, and they're certainly probably one of the teams to beat now in Division 4, which is actually quite weird saying, because we're obviously seeing London getting beaten every week in Division 4, but now the tables have turned. And the other match, Matthew, you mentioned was
Tipperary against Sligo.
Tipperary and Sligo. Tipperary are definitely in a bad run of form as of late. So and Sligo are on the up. Sligo want to get promoted, and Tipperary just can't rely on one person. Conor Swinney, he's just been trying to phenomenal. He's just trying to get Laois promoted by himself. Tipperary. Sorry, he's trying to get them promoted by himself. So you just can't rely on the one man band to get you out of jail. So
unless you're on Paddy Cummings.
Oh, massive crack there, lads. And they're probably the 2 standout games of Division 4. And just to finish off, 2 probably games to bring it back down to earth. Cavan against Carlow in Division 4, obviously. I know Cavan are performing well, but Carlow not so much. I know they won last weekend, but it probably should be an easy win for Cavan there. And Waterford against Leitrim in Fraher Fields. Leitrim should bounce back there. Would you agree with those predictions?
Yeah, I think, and I hope that Cavan hammer Carlow and then Fraher Fields. I think if Leitrim lose that match, then I think you can forget about Andy Moore and Hyde, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. And just a word on Cavan as well. What makes you so sure that Antrim will beat Cavan? Like, Cavan performing relatively well in Division 4. They have the players. They should really be in Division 4, let's be honest. So what makes you so confident you'll beat the Ulster champions from 2 seasons ago?
I just think we're playing against better opposition. These well-hardened teams, like Limerick and Wicklow and
Laois
and Westmeath, these are well.
These are all sort of similar level to Cavan, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. So obviously Cavan will be probably just going down Division 4. And
Cavan will go into that game's favourite spot. Agree with us, Matthew?
Absolutely.
That'll suit us, but
yep, exactly. And I see that Enda McGinley's putting up a fight to have it in Corrigan Park instead of a neutral venue as such. Obviously we're without Casement Park now. Enda McGinley's putting up a fight now to get it in Corrigan Park. So that would also be another factor too, home advantage for Antrim as well. So.
Yeah, definitely. And if you could even get to Corrigan Park for that game, that'll be some atmosphere there, I definitely imagine. And I suppose before we finish up on this football preview, where could we find you on social media and all them podcast apps?
So we're on Instagram at the Saffron Voice, on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can listen to our podcast every Monday and every Friday. We've actually got a podcast lined up for tomorrow night as well.
It's going to be very good. We'll
So-
see about Monaghan in the Antrim Leagues, which start next Sunday.
Yeah. So we've also got an interview with Joan Quinn, who's
Oh, that
That-
interview was fantastic.
so if you just want to go and listen to that, there you're so very welcome to listen to it. And if you just want to follow us on Twitter and Instagram, we're just the Saffron Voice. So
We're not doing it for anything but then sheer enjoyment out of doing it. So
exactly.
we talk about football anyways.
Yeah.
We might as well just put a microphone in front of our mouth and just talk about it that way. So.
Yeah, perfect, lads. So I'll link all that in the bio of this episode, both on YouTube and Spotify and all podcasting apps, of course. Thanks for coming on, Ryan and Luke, onto the podcast today for the preview. And maybe Antrim and Cork could meet next year. Like, wouldn't that be something?
No, we'll go up and use some. Come meet you in the motorway. Used to be the Tolson Cup, we'll be left in some car.
Well, we have to...
Dublin could be coming up to Corrigan Park next year. Price.
Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something? Thanks.
Behind the net.
Anyway, thanks, Luke, and thanks, Ryan, for coming on to the podcast. And I wish you the best of luck both with the podcast itself and with Antrim's form in the next few months.
Thanks, Matthew. Thanks, Matthew, for having us on. Thank you.